Hello guys, this is Oba FX Trading Academy and welcome once again to my YouTube channel. So as part of our top-down analysis series, today I'm going to be looking at the Deriv synthetic index volatility 25 on S. And as we all know, I like starting my analysis from the monthly time frame and then we'll gradually work our way down to the minutes or the hourly time frame where we can find trading opportunities. So strictly I use pure price action trading strategy, and as you can see on my chart, you have nothing on it, no indicator whatsoever. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. So like I said, I like starting my analysis from the higher time frame, and on the monthly time frame, which we have here on my chart, you can see that for some time now, this particular index has been trending upwards. In other words, we have it making a series of higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low. It's currently just made a high, and however, from the last candle that we can see on our chart, you can see that this is a big bearish candle, which would be like an indication of what's a retracement. So the basic information from the monthly time frame is that volatility 25 1S index is in an uptrend, but with a retracement currently coming downwards. So where is this price retracing to? We can say the price is retracing to this point and it is almost there. So another thing we can do from this monthly time frame is to draw our key zones. Now, if you don't know how to draw key zones, I did a video recently on the channel. You can check that out. So key zones, I say they are usually rejection zones that gives us the highest probability of taking favorable trades when price gets into that zone. In other words, if price is being rejected from a particular zone, there's a high probability that rejection would happen when price gets to that zone again. So I can map this particular zone as my key zone because for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, price was rejected from this particular zone. Now price broke out of the zone and we can see that price is currently returning back to the zone. So we expect something to happen by way of either rejection back to where price is coming from the upward direction or for price to break through the zone. So we'll be waiting in this particular area. Another zone that we can spot quickly would be somewhere around this area. I'll just take this up a bit because price was rejected severally. Now we also know that I like using three basic tools for my analysis. Aside from this support or resistance zones, I also like using the Fibonacci retracement tool and trend line. However, the basic information we've gotten from this monthly time frame is that price is in a bullish trend. So let's look at the weekly time frame. Now on the weekly time frame, without wasting much time, we can see that our bias from the monthly time frame becomes much more pronounced. In other words, that means now I can conveniently add a trend line. In other words, price left made this first touch of this trend line, came upwards, came down to make a second touch, and price is currently up here making a retracement, hopefully down to make a third touch of the trend line. Now, for those of us who also are not conversant with how to draw trend lines correctly, I also have a video more recently on the channel where I explained how you can do that. Now, from the monthly time frame, we saw that price was in an uptrend and that it was making a retracement. Now we can confirm that also much more from the weekly time frame. So without wasting much time, we can now go down to the daily time frame to see if we can get much more information. Now on the daily time frame, remember we drew this support zone from the monthly time frame. Now on the daily time frame, we can see clearly that there's room for us to add an internal trend line. So if I do this, that means I'll be adding this trend line. So what we're saying now is that price is currently is currently trying to break trend line, but our major source of concern would be this strong support zone that has rejected price previously as a resistance in the past, and that has just been broken most recently. So what do we do? How do we approach trying to buy or sell or take a trading decision in this market? All we need to do is to wait for price to get into the zone and look at how price reacts. In other words, when price comes into this particular zone, all we'd have to do would be to go to the H4 time frame or the H1 time frame to look for entries. Now, how do we do this? On the H4 time frame, you can see clearly that price is still making what series of lower lows and lower highs. Now, don't forget that we said that the price market is generally in an uptrend. So that means it will be pertinent for us to look for buying opportunities. However, the immediate trend of the market is a downtrend. And because the market is very close to a support zone, a strong support zone, it wouldn't be advisable to start looking for sell trades. So the best decision would be to wait for price to get into the strong support zone and look for opportunities. So like I said, how do we do this? We can see that price is making a series of lower lows and lower highs. So for us to buy the market, market has to be making what series of higher highs and higher lows. So that means when price gets into the zone, we have to wait for what a change of trend. So price is coming downwards in this fashion. So for us to conveniently buy the market, when price gets into the zone, we have to wait for something like this to happen. But when price makes this, we have to wait for to make a higher low and then take out the most recent lower high. So and then we can wait for this to happen, for price to come back to this place, and then we start looking for what buy opportunities. So for now, we can still say that price is making lower lows and lower highs. So we'll patiently wait for price to get to the zone and see what happens then. So remember, it is not a given that once price gets here, price will reverse automatically to the upside. It may be that price will decide to continue in its downward trend, make a retest of this trend line of the zone and continue downwards. So if we go to the H1 time frame, we can see that price is still in a downtrend, and we say that we're looking for buy opportunities because the market is in an uptrend. So I wouldn't want to stretch this video much more than this. This is my outlook on volatility 25-1S. So if you come across this video, you can compare this with your own analysis and see if it aligns. And if this has been of any value to you and you're coming across this channel for the first time, you can hit on the subscribe button for subsequent videos. And for those that have been following me, thank you so much for always supporting this channel, and cheers.